Isaiah 61, "Arise, for your light has come." Have you ever felt as if something inside you was quietly calling your name, but you couldn't explain why? A soft whisper, a stirring in the soul, a sense that something is shifting in the unseen. Tonight, I want you to breathe, slowly, and feel what is happening around you. Because there are moments in life when heaven speaks without sound, and even the silence carries a message. You've walked through nights that felt endless. You've carried weights no one ever saw. You've tried to smile while your heart was trembling inside, and maybe, just maybe, you reached a point where you asked yourself, "God, where is my light? When will my season change?" But listen carefully. In the spiritual realm, dawn begins long before the sun rises. Light always starts as a quiet glow, hidden behind the horizon, preparing to break through the dark. And that is where you are right now. There is a divine tension in your story, the kind that appears right before a breakthrough, the kind that makes the darkness feel heavier, because something greater is trying to be born, the kind that makes your spirit restless, not because you're lost, but because God is awakening you. You didn't come here by accident. Your soul was guided, your spirit was drawn, because heaven has a word for you tonight, a word wrapped in light, purpose, and destiny. And the word is this: arise. Not get ready, not maybe later, not when you feel better, but arise because your light has already come. Even if you can't see it yet, it's already on its way. Even if your surroundings look the same, something in the atmosphere has changed. Even if your past is loud, God's promise is louder. There is a light appointed for your life, a light that darkness cannot hold, a light that confusion cannot silence, a light that no enemy can steal, a light that was meant for you. And when God releases that light, it doesn't ask permission from your circumstances. It doesn't wait for everything to be perfect. It breaks through with power, with clarity, with purpose. Right now, I want you to picture dawn rising over a quiet field, golden light spreading, shadows melting away, warmth touching the cold ground. That is your spirit right now. That is your season awakening. You may feel tired, but heaven is saying, "Stand up, I'm strengthening you." You may feel unworthy, but God is saying, "Stand up, I've chosen you." You may feel small, but the Lord whispers, "Stand up, your light is here." This is not motivation. This is not positivity. This is a prophetic calling over your life. Type in the comments right now, "I trust you, Lord." Because when you declare it, something shifts inside. Your faith aligns with heaven. Your spirit comes into agreement with your destiny. You are stepping into a new phase, a new atmosphere, a new spiritual temperature, and the darkness that tried to bury you will now witness your rising. This is only the beginning. There is a moment, right after God calls you to arise, when everything around you still looks the same battles, the same memories, the same fears trying to whisper their old stories. And you wonder, if my light has come, why do I still feel the weight of yesterday? Listen closely, because this is where most destinies are shaped or lost. Before the light becomes visible around you, it becomes undeniable within you. Transformation always begins in the unseen part of the soul, in the quiet rooms of your heart where only God walks. Maybe you've been in a place where you feel suspended between who you were and who you are becoming. That in-between space can feel confusing, even painful. It's the place where God starts dismantling the lies that attach themselves to your identity, the place where He confronts the silent fears you never told anyone about, the place where He whispers, "I'm not done with you, I'm rebuilding you." And yes, and sometimes the rebuilding feels like breaking, not because God wants to hurt you, but because He's removing everything that kept your light dimmed. You thought God abandoned you, But what if the silence was preparation? What if the waiting was protection? What if the delay was alignment? What if the loneliness was pruning, shaping you for a greater purpose? Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the weight of every unanswered prayers, every long night, every quiet tear. Feel it. And now understand this truth. Those moments didn't weaken you. They refined you. They didn't take your light. They prepared you to carry it. The enemy tried to convince you that the silent seasons meant God had forgotten you. But heaven is revealing something different. You were in training, spiritual formation, internal strengthening, a divine construction site where God was carving out the strength you would need for what's coming next. You see, light is not only revelation, light is responsibility. And before God puts a mantle of light on someone, He makes sure their heart is ready to carry it without breaking. That's why your battles were so intense. That's why the pressure was heavier than what others seemed to carry. That's why your tears were deeper, your questions louder, your nights longer. Because your calling is not ordinary. Your purpose is not small. Your destiny is not fragile. And now, as the dawn rises over your spirit, every part of your journey makes sense. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. Feel the shift. The atmosphere is changing around you. Your spirit is awakening. Your heart is steadier. Your faith is stretching its wings again. Tonight, make this declaration right here in the comments. My healing begins now. Because healing begins the moment light touches the places that were hidden. And God says your light has come. It not will come, not someday, but has come. Your spirit is stepping forward. Your identity is rising. Your purpose is unfolding. And what once felt like an ending is becoming the doorway to your new beginning. This is the sacred transition, the quiet rising before the visible breakthrough. And the story continues. There comes a time when the soul grows tired of fighting in the dark, tired of pretending, tired of holding everything together alone. And you reach a point where you whisper, God, I don't know how much longer I can keep pushing. But listen, what you call exhaustion, heaven calls transition. What you call weakness, heaven calls alignment. Because right before the greatest rise, the human heart hits the lowest valley. This valley teaches you things the mountain never will. It teaches you to listen, to wait, to breathe again, to rediscover the quiet presence of God that walks beside you, even when you feel broken. Think about the moments you felt invisible, unheard, overlooked. You prayed and nothing seemed to move. You cried and no answers came. You tried to be strong, but the silence around you grew heavier. And yet, even in that silence, light was working its way toward you. Because God never calls someone to arise unless the light has already been released. The call is proof the breakthrough is near. Imagine the early morning sky. Still dark, still quiet, but the slightest line of gold begins to appear on the horizon. That small line doesn't look powerful. It doesn't look like much. But that little line carries the entire promise of a new day. It carries hope, renewal, and strength. Your spirit is standing at that horizon right now. You may not see the fullness yet, but the line of light is there. The promise is there. The shift is happening. God's light doesn't arrive with noise. It rises gently, quietly, but with unstoppable force, and the darkness that tried to suffocate you now trembles at the sight of your rising. Because when God says arise, He is not speaking to your circumstances. He is speaking to your identity, to the part of you that has been hidden, bruised, silenced, underestimated, to the warrior inside you that forgot its own strength. You thought you survived because you were strong, but the truth is, you survived because God refused to let the darkness win. You are here, still breathing and still standing and still fighting, because heaven kept you alive while you felt yourself sinking. And now, God is returning what the battle drained from you. Feel this in your spirit. Courage is returning, peace is returning, clarity is returning, your fire is returning, your vision is returning, your voice is returning. This is the restoration the enemy hoped you would never reach. The Lord is awakening the parts of you that grief tried to bury. He is reigniting the dreams you thought were gone. He is restoring the confidence the past tried to destroy. And He whispers to you tonight, "My child, I am not just giving you light, I am making you light." Pause, breathe. Let that sink into your soul. You are rising not to escape the darkness, but to transform it. You become a beacon, a testimony, a living reminder that God still turns ashes into beauty, tears into strength, brokenness into destiny. Right now, declare with faith in the comments, "God is with me." Every time you say it, light pushes back what tried to silence you. Every time you say it, heaven aligns your heart with its purpose. Every time you say it, your rising becomes more real. This is the sacred hour before your dawn, the moment heaven prepares you for the brightness ahead, and your story continues to rise. There is a sacred moment in every journey with God, a turning point where the soul begins to sense that something invisible is shifting. You can't explain it, you can't describe it, but you feel it, like the quiet wind before a storm of glory. It's the moment when heaven leans close, when the atmosphere around you starts to thicken with purpose, when your spirit whispers, "Something is changing, something is coming." This moment often appears right after your deepest battle. When you feel drained, empty, unsure, because God waits until every false source of strength collapses, so that you can rise with the strength that never fails. You thought the darkness was a sign that God abandoned you, but in reality, the darkness was the cocoon where He was transforming you. Think of a seed buried in the soil. It sits in darkness, completely hidden. No voice, no movement, no recognition. And yet, under the weight of the earth, something sacred is happening. Roots are forming, strength is building, life is preparing to break through. Your season of darkness was not a grave. It was your germination, a sacred place where God planted you deeper so you could rise stronger. This is why the attacks were heavier. This is why the pressure felt unbearable. This is why the silence lasted longer than you expected, because the enemy fights hardest, right before the seed breaks the ground. And now, you are beginning to break through. You may not see the full light yet, but the soil above your spirit is cracking. The limits that once kept you down are weakening. The ceilings that surrounded your life are lifting. What held you back is losing its grip. Because when God commands, "Arise," the spiritual environment around you rearranges itself to obey Him. Even your enemies feel the shift. Even your fears feel it. Even your doubts sense that something in you has awakened. You are not the same person who entered the darkness. Something in you grew. Something in you matured. Something in you broke open. You learned to survive storms. You learned to walk through valleys. You learned to keep breathing when the night refused to end. And now, heaven says you are ready. Ready to carry light. Ready to walk in purpose. Ready to stand in the identity God always intended for you. Ready to shine in ways you once thought were impossible. Feel this truth deeply. Your light is not coming from the outside. It is emerging from within you. It is the light of resilience, the light of wisdom, the light of scars transformed into strength, the light of a warrior who refused to die in the dark. Close your eyes, breathe, and let your spirit say, "I am rising." Write this declaration in the comments, "My purpose awakens." Because the moment you declare it, heaven reacts. The spiritual world aligns. Your destiny responds. You are stepping into a season where doors open not by force, but by identity. Where opportunities find you because your light makes you visible. Where favor surrounds you because your spirit is aligned with heaven. Where what once intimidated you now bows before the strength God built inside you. This is the unfolding of your dawn. The sacred moment where darkness realizes it cannot keep you anymore. You are rising, and nothing will stop what God has begun. And the journey continues. There is a moment on every spiritual journey when God begins to expose the shadows that tried to live inside you, not to shame you, not to condemn you, but to free you. Because you cannot rise while carrying burdens that were never meant to stay. And you cannot walk in the brightness of your calling while holding the wounds that belong to your past. In this sacred moment, God's light becomes a mirror, not a harsh one, but a gentle reflection that shows you who you've truly become through every battle, every tear, every silent night. You look back and see the version of you that was afraid, the version of you that believed lies about your worth, the version of you that tried to be strong while falling apart inside, the version of you that survived storms that no one else knew about, and you begin to realize, I am not that person anymore. Yes, there were days when you almost broke, days when fear tried to swallow your courage, days when loneliness sounded louder than faith, days when you whispered, God, please, just give me one sign. And heaven answered not with noise, but with presence. What you didn't see then is that God was lifting you even while you felt you were sinking. Tonight is something powerful is happening in your spirit. You are seeing yourself through God's eyes, not through your past. You are recognizing your strength, not your wounds. You are discovering your identity, not your fear. And when this happens, when the soul wakes up, darkness loses its last argument. The battle you fought was never just about survival. It was about rebirth. It was about shaping a warrior who carries light in every step. Because Isaiah 61 is not just an invitation, it is a revelation. Arise. Because God has already restored the part of you that life tried to break. Arise. Because your spirit remembers what your heart forgot. Arise, ye, because heaven placed a destiny on your name. Arise, ye, because your story is shifting chapters. Your rising is not only about standing up, it is about stepping out of the old fears, out of the old lies, out of the old patterns, out of the old identity that no longer fits the person you are becoming. Close your eyes now, breathe deeply, and imagine a gentle wind brushing across your face. A warm, golden wind, a wind that carries peace, clarity, healing. That wind is symbolic of the Holy Presence moving over you, whispering, you are free now, walk in your light. You are stepping into a season where your heart will no longer be led by fear, but by faith. Where decisions will no longer be shaped by pain, but by purpose. Where your voice will no longer tremble, but carry authority. Feel the weight leaving your chest. Feel the breath returning to your lungs. Feel the clarity rising in your mind. This isn't imagination. This is spiritual alignment. And now, with faith, declare in the comments, my light rises now, because every time you declare the truth, you break another chain. Every time you speak faith, the darkness loses ground. Every time you align yourself with God's word, your purpose gains strength. This is the moment when heaven begins to reveal why you went through everything you endured. Nothing was wasted. Not a single tear, not a single night, not a single battle. Your light is not just shining, and it is breaking through, and the story continues. There is a point in your rising when God begins to reveal not only who you are, but why you are here. This is where the journey becomes more than survival, more than healing, more than restoration. This is the moment when destiny begins to speak. And destiny always whispers before it shouts. For so long you've walked through life trying to hold everything together, trying to be strong for everyone, trying to remain faithful even when your heart felt fragile. You thought your struggle was about loss, about waiting, about pain. But heaven was shaping something bigger, something eternal, something powerful inside you. Listen to this. Purpose rarely begins with clarity. It begins with disruption. That shaking you felt, that door that closed unexpectedly, that season that forced you into solitude, that moment when everything familiar fell apart. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It wasn't the enemy stopping you, it was God repositioning you. Because He refuses to let you settle in places that were never meant to hold your future. Sometimes God has to close the chapter before you have the courage to put the book down. And something in your spirit knows and knows deeply that the pain you walked through was not meaningless. It was preparing you, aligning you, molding you into someone who carries light with purpose. You see, light is not only a blessing, it is a calling. And those who are called to carry light often walk through deeper darkness than others. Why? Because the deeper the darkness, the stronger the light becomes when it rises. Think of a lantern glowing in a bright room. Its flame seems small, insignificant. But place that same lantern in the middle of a stormy night, and suddenly its light dominates the darkness. That's what God is doing with you. He is setting your life in the exact place where your light will shine the brightest, not hidden, not diminished, not silenced, but visible, powerful, unmistakable. Right now, heaven is aligning people, opportunities, and moments that will lead you into your purpose. Your steps are being reordered, your relationships are being filtered, your heart is being refined, your vision is being sharpened. This is why the past season felt heavy. You were being repositioned for impact. And now, something is shifting. You can feel it in the quiet of your heart, in the tension of your spirit, in the sudden sense of something new is coming. That's not your imagination. It's your purpose waking up. This is why God says, "Arise," because your assignment is calling, because your identity is rising, because your light is needed. Yes, needed. There are people who will find their way through your testimony. There are hearts that will heal because you survived your valley. There are lives that will be touched because your light refused to die. You are not rising for yourself alone. You are rising for the ones who will come after you. Your journey is becoming someone else's map. Your healing is becoming someone else's hope. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the weight of destiny settling on your spirit. Not pressure, purpose, a gentle, holy sense of, "I was born for this moment." Now declare this with faith in the comments. I rise with purpose. Because the moment you declare purpose, your steps begin to align with it. Doors begin to open. Favor begins to move. Heaven begins to orchestrate what your eyes have not yet seen. This is not cliché. This is spiritual truth. Your rising is more than personal victory. It is a divine appointment, and the journey continues. There comes a moment in every rising when the resistance intensifies, not because you are failing, but because you are getting closer, closer to clarity, closer to freedom, closer to the purpose that has been pulling you from within. You may have noticed it, the sudden heaviness, the unexpected discouragement, the old fears trying to come back, the doubts whispering the same lies you once believed. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual reality. The darkest pressure always appears right before the greatest breakthrough. In the realm of the spirit, light disrupts darkness long before the human eye can see it. And because your light has begun to break through, resistance increases. not to stop you, but to test what you've learned in the valley. The enemy uses familiar weapons, whispers of insecurity, shadows of your past, memories of the wounds you once carried, voices that say you're not enough or nothing will change. But what the enemy forgets is that you are not rising from the same place you once stood. You are rising from a refined spirit, a strengthened heart, a deeper trust. You didn't just survive your dark season, you grew in it. You gained discernment. You gained resilience. You gained spiritual sharpness. You gained a sensitivity to God's voice that cannot be taken from you. This resistance you feel is not a sign to stop. It is confirmation that you're moving exactly where heaven is leading you. Imagine a warrior walking through a battlefield at dawn. The sky is shifting from darkness to gold. The shadows stretch as the first rays appear. And the enemy, knowing its time is short, fights harder in those final moments. That's what's happening in your spirit. The pressure is not proof of failure. It is the echo of darkness losing its power over your life. And God, in His perfect timing, speaks into your spirit. Arise. Not fight better. Not try harder. Not earn your way out. Just arise. Because your rising is not powered by your strength. It's powered by His promise. And no resistance can undo what God has ordained. No darkness can silence the light that was placed inside you. No attack can cancel the destiny written over your name. Tonight, I want you to feel this. Your spirit is stronger than the storm around you. Your faith is louder than the whispers of fear. Your purpose is bigger than the pressure you feel. You are not going backwards. You are not losing ground. You are not collapsing. You are transitioning. You are stretching. You are expanding. You are crossing a spiritual threshold. This is why God brought you here. To remind you that resistance is not the end. It is the beginning of your rise. Take a deep breath. Let peace settle into your chest like warm light. Let clarity rest on your mind. Let strength rise in your heart. And now write this declaration in the comments with authority. Nothing will stop my rising. Because when you declare truth, heaven moves, chains break, fear weakens, and your spirit aligns with the destiny God prepared. You are closer than you think, closer than you feel, closer than you realize. Hold on, because your rising is becoming unstoppable, and the journey continues. There is a moment in your rising when God begins to show you what the battle was really about. Not the fear, not the pain, not the silence, but the calling hidden behind it all. Because every attack you endured, every night you cried, every moment you felt empty, had a purpose bigger than you imagined. You thought you were just surviving, but heaven was preparing you to lead. You thought you were just holding on, but God was shaping you to shine. You thought your story was falling apart, but it was actually being rewritten. Listen closely. When God says, "Arise, for your light has come," He is not just speaking to the wounded parts of you. He is speaking to the leader inside you, the one who learned compassion through pain, the one who gained wisdom through waiting, the one who discovered strength through brokenness. All this time, God was not only healing you, He was teaching you how to guide others out of the dark, because your testimony carries keys that someone else needs. Your scars carry maps for souls who feel lost. Your rising carries hope for hearts that stopped believing. This is why the enemy tried so hard to silence you, not because of where you were, but because of where you were going. You carry a light that does more than shine. It awakens others. Imagine a torch being lit in the middle of a dark cave. Its flame doesn't only warm the holder, it reveals the path for everyone near it. That is you, a torchbearer, a carrier of dawn, a vessel of divine illumination. And because of that, your life will no longer move in small, timid steps. Your spirit is entering a season of boldness, not arrogance, but holy confidence. Confidence that comes from surviving storms you thought would break you. Confidence that comes from hearing God in the silence when you expected nothing. Confidence that comes from rising again after every fall. You are stepping into a place where purpose becomes natural, where decisions become clear, where peace becomes your atmosphere, where light becomes your identity. This new season is not subtle. It will not look like the last one. It will not feel like the valley you survived. It will not sound like the voices that tried to break you. Everything is shifting. Your mindset, your relationships, your opportunities, your spirit. God is aligning people who will support your calling. He is removing what drains your light. He is clearing the noise so you can hear His direction. He is opening paths that were once impossible. Feel that in your spirit, like a warm sunrise touching the coldest parts of your heart. That is God saying, I am with you. Step forward, not in fear, not in hesitation, but in authority. Now with faith declare in the comments, I step into my calling. Because every declaration is a spiritual step. Every step is alignment. Every alignment is acceleration. Your rising is not a moment. It is a movement, a divine unfolding, a radiant awakening, and the journey continues to rise. There comes a sacred moment in every rising when God begins to reveal the weight of the light He placed inside you. Not a burden, but a holy responsibility. A divine assignment woven into the purpose of your existence. You begin to realize that you were not simply saved from darkness. You were saved to shine, saved to illuminate paths, saved to carry hope, saved to be a living reminder that God restores, redeems, renews, and revives. And in this moment, heaven whispers something powerful. You are not who you used to be. Look at yourself now, not with the eyes of your past, but with the eyes of the God who carried you. You are stronger. You are wiser. You are more discerning. You are more aligned with the truth than ever before. The version of you that once doubted every step is giving way to a version that walks with quiet confidence. The version of you that trembled in the night is becoming the version that commands the morning. The version of you that once hid is becoming the version that rises. This is what light does. It transforms identity. Darkness told you that you were small, but light reveals that you were chosen. Darkness tried to convince you that you were unworthy, but light shows the fingerprints of God all over your story. Darkness made you feel alone, but light reveals you were accompanied the entire time. And now, as you step into this new identity, something inside you expands. Your spirit stands taller. Your breath becomes deeper. Your heart begins to beat with purpose again. This is not imagination. This is awakening. Feel the shift. It's like standing at the edge of a vast ocean at sunrise, watching the first light unravel the horizon, feeling the wind change direction, knowing that a new tide is coming. Your life is at that horizon. A new tide is rising, a tide of clarity, favor, opportunity, and divine timing. The battles of yesterday are not following you into this season. Their purpose is complete. Their assignment has ended. Their weight has lifted. That's why the spiritual atmosphere around you feels different now. Lighter, quieter, wider, more expectant. Because when God calls you to arise, He doesn't only lift you, He clears the path ahead. This is the moment when the promises that once felt distant begin to breathe, begin to move, begin to approach your reality. Your name is being spoken in rooms you haven't entered yet. Your steps are being guided into places you never imagined. Your light is attracting opportunities perfectly aligned with your destiny. You are stepping into a season where heaven accelerates what once felt delayed. But hear this clearly. Your rising is not passive. It is an active agreement with God, a spiritual yes in your heart, a courageous decision to walk forward even when the full path isn't visible. And tonight, God is asking you for one step, one act of faith, one declaration that aligns your spirit with His promise. Write it in the comments now. I walk in God's light, not the light of the world, not the light of circumstance, but the light that never fades, the light that breaks chains, the light that reveals identity, the light that goes before you and surrounds you. You are rising not just to shine, but to walk in authority and with purpose, with peace, with the confidence of someone who knows heaven is guiding every step. This is your moment, your dawn, your shift, your spiritual elevation. And the journey is preparing for its final crescendo. There comes a moment at the end of every journey, a sacred pause, where heaven invites you to breathe, to feel, to recognize the transformation that has happened inside you. You made it, not by chance, not by luck, but by divine intention. You walked through darkness, and darkness did not win. You faced storms, and storms did not drown you. You endured silence, and silence did not break you. And now, at the dawn of your rising, God speaks one final time. Arise, for your light has come. Not borrowed light, not temporary light, not light for others, but not for you. No, your light. The light God formed in you through every valley. The light shaped through tears that no one saw. The light refined in the secret place where only God held your heart together. This light, the one awakening inside your spirit right now, was always meant to shine. And tonight, as you listen, as you breathe, as your heart softens beneath the weight of God's presence, you begin to understand that this rising is not the end of something. It is the beginning of a new life. Feel this moment. Let it settle over your soul like warm golden fire. Let every residue of fear melt. Let the heaviness leave your chest. Let your mind unclench. Let your spirit expand. You survived the night. Now, you inherit the dawn. And before we pray, before we step fully into this rising, I want you to declare one last time in the comments, I arise in God's light. Because this declaration seals what God has done. It lifts you into alignment. It marks your spirit with identity and purpose. Now breathe slowly as we enter a holy moment, a moment wrapped in peace, in stillness, in a soft divine warmth. Prayer of surrender. Father, for every person listening now, let your light touch them like a sunrise on the sweetest morning. Let the breath of your presence calm their mind, heal their heart, and wash every fear away. Wrap them in peace, deep peace, quiet peace, the kind that reaches the places words cannot touch. Lift the burdens they carried alone, break the chains they never spoke about, heal the wounds they hid in silence, restore the pieces of their heart that life tried to scatter. Lord, awaken their spirit. Let purpose rise like fire. Let courage stand like a mountain. Let clarity flow like a river. Let hope breathe again inside them. Where there was confusion, bring direction. Where there was fear, bring boldness. Where there was shame, bring identity. Where there was delay, bring acceleration. Let your light go before them, beside them, within them, and behind them. Let every step they take from this moment forward be guided by your voice, protected by your hand, and strengthened by your promise. And tonight, as the music fades softly, as the atmosphere settles into peace, as their heart becomes still, let them know this truth deeply, profoundly, unshakably. They are rising, they are chosen, they are seen, they are loved, they are guided, they carry light, and no darkness can stop what you have begun. Amen. You are stepping into a new chapter, a new environment, a new spiritual dimension. Your spirit is brighter, your vision is clearer, your heart is stronger, your purpose is awakening. This is your moment, your turning point, your divine transformation. And remember, this is not the end, it's the beginning of something new. Subscribe and activate the bell, because the next word may change everything.